and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This is going to be the start of a new era for my channel. I will continue to post weekly magic videos because to me that is a cathartic thing to do, but I was recently given a brand new capture device for a newer era of consoles. Some of my followers knew me way back from before this channel. I had a previous channel before 2010 where I would upload Sega, Genesis, Saturn, and Dreamcast gameplay footage. That channel got destroyed by copyright issues. As some of the older YouTubers may know, there was a lot of changes in how copyright rules used to work, especially with background music in games. That channel is long gone. And while I still have my VGA capture device, there is basically just better, newer hardware, and I got something new to play with. So, I'm going to create a subset of my channel where I will also be uploading gameplay footage of I'll go back to my Sega consoles again, but I also have a nice library of PlayStation 3 games that I like. Now, this is mostly nostalgia for myself. A lot of these games, they've been played to death for well over a decade, but I have not visited and replayed some of these games for a very long time. So we're starting today with Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. This is known as Biohazard in Japan or other areas. The name changes depending on where you are. Today we have the special edition one, and I'll go ahead and show some of this. So as I talk, this game was released in March of 2012, I believe, and I have very fond memories of this game. I played this, and this came out in a time of my life where I was very comfortable financially. I was surrounded by friends, and I still had family. Now, this is a little bit of a different take on Resident Evil. I am a very big Resident Evil fan. When we get to the system, I will actually show some of the trophies I have to kind of illustrate just how big of a fan of Resident Evil I am. But this game had what most people would say would be a unwelcome reception. Commercially, it did very well financially, but due to this fitting into the genre of a team-type co-op game that wasn't done very well, at a time when that was popular, making the game further away from the franchise itself meant that it was unwelcome to most people who liked that genre of game, and the Resident Evil fans, since something happens in this game that makes it not canon, basically, it wasn't really well received by a lot of fans. I am a hardcore RE fan. I still love this game, even though there are some issues with it. Now, this is the special edition. This came out in North America on the 360 and PS3, and don't know if there's a special edition for PC or not. Originally, I got this for the 360. The same exact box set, by the way. Special edition it just came with these little tiny patches here, and these are the extra weapons and character skins that came with the game. It was a DLC code, not something on the disc itself. Later, when this was first released, the game itself had a bunch of technical issues. The zombie AI had some problems, and basically there was just a bit of a conundrum of what was exactly happening at the end of the game, if it was actually completely finished or not. Sometime later, updates came which addressed some of the AI issues, and they added a little bit of extra, a second set of campaign, where you could play as the mercenaries instead of the Umbrella agents. We'll go through the manual very slowly here. Now, I will use this video to talk about the art in here, and I'll load up the system, and I will show the characters under my current save. I plan on wiping my save for this gameplay. I'm going to relive this as if I just got the game, which my traditional method of playing games is to play it on the hardest difficulty it will allow me to play it at start. So, we will wipe our save so we have no weapons, and no skills unlocked, and we will try it on a harder than normal difficulty. My favorite character to run in this is and always has been Four Eyes. I myself am a lab technician. Well, I used to be before the pandemic. So I have a passion for chemistry, virology, things like that. It's just been a study of mine. So that character has always been very much a preference, and we'll use this playthrough as her because she's my favorite. But when we get to the system, I will actually show all the characters, all of their available skill sets, and all of the weapons before I wipe my save. one of the best things to do in this game, since the game did a really good job at making you feel like you were a trained agent, because you had a lot of these melee tackle type attacks where you can grab the zombies and hold them. And a lot of people didn't know about the CQC kind of effects you could do in this game when you're playing. But yeah, so this is the standard US edition, special edition. There was, of course, a Japanese only released Biohazard Operation Raccoon City special edition. It came with, I believe, a DVD called The Special Report, and a lanyard, and I think maybe an art book. I cannot recall. The box was slightly thicker. But now this is, I should go ahead and mention, just because I am such a fan of this game. Originally had this on the 360, and the place I was playing this in was a dormitory. So my entire group of friends, we were at that time of our lives where we could get a new game when it came out, and our group of friends would play it together. Unfortunately for this game, I think a month after this game came out, The Witcher 2 came out on 360. So my group quickly dissipated into the newer game. But I still love this game. My 360 died, I eventually got this, and one of my friends, I ended up getting a second copy of this, so we could still play together, because I'll get into this while we're playing. There's two major issues with this game that could have made it a much better game, but just having a real-life friend doing a co-op together was fun. He eventually sold his system, so I ended up getting this back. I used to have a backup system where my girlfriend and I would still do two-player co-op runs on this game. But let's switch over to the console and take a closer look at the game itself. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So we've loaded the game into the system. I'm going to start by showing what all of the characters have skill-wise and all the weapon unlocks on a completed game save file. Then we'll pop over to see the trophies, so you can see kind of what all that entails. And then I'll go ahead and actually just delete my save file, so we have a fresh start. So let's go to the game. It has some fun background music. The background music in the game itself, the loading screen and the character selection screen, happen to be some of my absolute favorite background music ever. If you also have ever tried to record footage off of a PS3, you know it's a bit of a hassle. There's a bit of a copyright issue, and getting the audio out on some of these games is tricky. On top of that, the games that advertise being 1080p sometimes default to 420 or basically a lower resolution, so you have to tinker with it to force it up. But yes, this background music, this intro song, it's phenomenal, and we'll just listen to this for a second to enjoy the vibes. The one that follows this in the character selection screen is also very intense too. Now today we are going to be using a non-original PlayStation 3 controller. Mine has long ago died. We have a third-party controller that is wireless. Unfortunately, most of those don't have a true analog stick. We're using a Hori wired controller, which is very good for combat-based games and sensitive first-person shooter games.
Resident Evil.
So let's start first. Yeah, the game still has online leaderboards. There are, of course, a lot of hackers that still play the game, and they can do strange things like this, where everyone is forced to level 99. There's a few ways to get to level 99 very quickly by farming in this game. Levels in this game don't matter for anything other than records. The current save file we have here shows me at level 81. This is, again, not important. I'm getting ready to delete that. But that is basically what you would see when you face off someone online. The versus mode, that is. Let's just do this to see where it gets to the character screen. Alright, so right here you can see this is the different cosmetics, because you can go to the originals. Let's switch that again. And that's the original. Everyone's all black, but the DLC for the special edition came with extra colors. So Lupo, for example, was white or black. So we'll just switch everyone to their defaults first. But I personally, I always play as Four Eyes, and purple is my favorite color, so it's a good scent here. Now, each character in both this and the mercenary side, same exact skill set, it's just a reskin of the characters, and you have access to the same pool of weapons. So, while it was additional content to be able to play as the mercenaries, it didn't really add that much to the game, since it's basically just another series of quests with the same characters, essentially. We'll start with my favorite character, Four Eyes. Each character, you have access to different passive and activated abilities. You can only pick one activated ability while you are in a playthrough. So her passives, and these level up. You can use experience you gain per levels to level each perk up. We'll just let you read them. Antiviral sprays in this game is really cool. You can get infected, and your AI teammates can also get infected. And it turns your screen a slight haze of blue. You will slowly count down to becoming a zombie yourself, and if you or the AI turns into a zombie, the AI takes over and you essentially attack your teammates. You can of course kill them, and then resurrect them like normal. But there are antiviral sprays to prevent this, and she, as the virologist, comes with an extra slot to hold more. This vision essentially allows you to light up different infected on the screen. It helps differentiate them from the human targets, which is helpful for her best ability, in my opinion. These are the three activated abilities, essentially power. Induce infection's pretty fun. This is my favorite one in the entire game, essentially a grenade that is an attraction, so you throw it into a lob of human enemies, it will attract all the zombies towards them. The program Infected is also very fun, but a little hard to work. A lot of these skills, and I'll get into this now. As I said, there's two major issues with this game that if they had improved on, or Capcom, if you're listening and you want to resurrect this game, please take this idea and improve on it. If you can lower the number of AI partners right here in the squad to 3, 2, or even just 1 player, you would completely change the way this game is played. Because her skill, like that for example, it doesn't work well in the game, especially full of AI. All of the AI tends to just rush the enemies. There's not really any skill built into them to use their perks. So in a harder scenario where you may want to tactically program a monster, your other AI companions are just going to keep shooting, and it's a bit of a waste, unfortunately. Let's change over to... Lupo is most commonly referred to as the best in the entire campaign, especially if you're going for the perfect platinum trophy, if you want the best ranks, because she has the ability to set your weapon like bullets on fire, give you invulnerability, and essentially she becomes a DPS cannon. Those skills in this game are fantastic on her. One thing that a lot of people rely on her for is just to be able to kill faster than the other AI companions when you're going for the A or the S+ ranks, because the way these skills, how those ranks are determined in this game, is based on speed, the number of kills, and a few other factors like items found. But the AI can steal your kills, which is horrible because you can't get rid of the AI, and if you try to kill them, they'll sometimes come back anyways. But she can overpower them by just having this. The AI itself does not do a lot of DPS, but it's better, and that's why most people run her for the S+ rank. We'll switch over to Spectre. Spectre is typically used to learn where the items are. So if you're going for an S rank or a platinum trophy in this game, you usually do Spectre so you can actually identify where all of the items are using the item detection skill. Once you learn that, you can then just switch to another character, replay the same chapter, hopefully remembering where you saw all of the collectible items. But again, there's a lot of things that he could have been better for if you did not have to rely on AI rushing the enemy. These different abilities to see through walls and things like that are pretty handy, but very limited in what you can use them. Vector was basically the icon of the game. They were trying to push him as essentially a knockoff Hunk with Master Chief's active camo, because they literally call it active camo in this game. You can temporarily turn invisible. And again, this would have been fantastic if you were playing the game without 3 AI companions. If they somehow were able to reduce your squad to 1 or 2 players, this would completely make a different experience as the game itself, especially mimicry. Like, some of these skills are fantastic, but then tied in with a squad of 4, none of them actually get useful. Bertha is the healer of the squad. When I used to help people get platinums on this game, if they were struggling with the higher ranks, I would play as Bertha, follow them around and heal them, maybe use the handgun to kneecap some zombies, and try to distract the other two AI. But past that, like, she's basically just the healer buffer of the pack. And we missed Beltway. Yes. Beltway is, once again, there's a lot of things you can do with him if the AI wasn't rushing the enemies. Setting traps, bombs, stickies, explosives. Very fun idea. I love the character design too. In the game you'll see if the AI shows up with him, he's missing his legs. As a bombs expert, it makes you wonder why. But he is more of a tanky explosives guy. And that's one of my fantasies of this game, is if you could somehow modify it to get rid of 2 or even 3 of these AI companions, be able to play it as a singular person, or maybe just 2, so 2 people can play it together. Because imagine the pairing of 4 Eyes lobbing a grenade to lure people into a trap, or Spectre setting up to camp while Bertha hangs back. Like, there's just a lot of options that would be pretty fun here. So we are definitely playing 4 Eyes today. But let's switch over to the weapons. These are all the weapons that you can get throughout the entire game. You start with a few, and as you go through the campaign, you can find them by shooting little case locks. It locks off the case. Some of these are DLC weapons, some of these are from the special edition. A lot of these are actually referencing to other Resident Evil games. Like, you have, I think, Matilda in here is Leon's pistol. We'll just pop through there. Mob Specials, Resident Evil 4 special. The Juggernaut is often considered one of the best weapon in the game by a lot of players, because the DPS is pretty high and it can shoot a lot of ammo. A cowboy shotgun is again another fun reference. The classic launcher, yeah. Now some of these are very fantastic and powerful, but you're not given a lot of options in the game to use them. In the scenarios where you need a sniper rifle, typically the game will hand you one by hiding it somewhere in the environment close by. And of course there's handguns, like there's Leon's Matilda, the Samurai Edge, classic weapons, and these 3 are kind of well, I guess this is also an RE5. A lot of people like the HP, a higher power, it does more damage. Samurai Edge technically fires faster, but the higher damage is pretty good. Unlike most Resident Evil games, there's not a lot of focus on critical hit, like headshots in this game. You can't really control that. The sidearms the secondary weapons are basically just like a fire and forget over the shoulder kind of thing. But we're going to back out here. I believe that's all the important stuff. Of course, the other parts in this game that you can do as you go is unlocking pictures. There's a lot of gallery stuff in the game where you revisit some of the most popular elements of Resident Evil. In this game itself, I believe this is the first game where you can actively explore some scenes from the earlier Resident Evil games. For example, the gas station Resident Evil 3's in here, the bell tower. There's a lot of places that we revisit. This is just a really good homage. I will try to point out while playing some of the like Easter eggs, like the secrets that are in there. There's a lot. But I will now back out of the game. We will go to the trophies next. Oh no. Alright, let's get to these trophies. Okay, so Resident Evil games. As I said, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. I've played Resident Evil since the original game was released. I have an annual tradition where I play the Resident Evil 1 Sega Saturn game every Halloween. And I've done that for over 20 years. I have the RAM extended cartridges, the memory cards for the Sega Saturn, that still have dates back to 1999 and before. But that is an annual tradition for me. I have played all of these games. I love them. I have not actually finished RE7. Obviously, haven't played Village or the newer ones, because a few years ago I had to get rid of my PS4. A few of these games, if you see through my trophies, I'm actually incomplete on, but there's an era of gaming in the PS4 era where I basically go and just stop. And RE7 is unfortunately where I left off. I was not able to complete the game before I had to sell it, but love these games. Racoon City, again, I've did all of this long time ago. I 100%ed all the achievements on the 360 also. But every now and then I revisit this game because I'm a part of a survival horror Discord where people like to get online and help other people. And every now and then I'll pop on here and help with some of the co-op trophies or help someone try to get the S+ ranks on this game. But now we are going to do something what most people think would be a little bit scary. We're going to go delete our save file. And it's gone. Just like that, it's gone. Okay, so now we have a fresh start for Resident Evil Operation Racoon City. I will break this video sequence down to chapter base, so we'll do each video is a chapter of the game. And maybe tomorrow, if I still have the energy, I might revisit the mercenary side. I may do something different for that one. I may play as the Beltway clone, because that is oftentimes considered to be the hardest one to pilot. But let's get started. This will be fun.